and confirming that just a few moments ago in the last hour, and that is that the Gauteng police have found 2 more bodies in the same area where 19 bodies were found yesterday. Police think that they may have been illegal miners. Their bodies were discovered in an active mine in Krugersdorp, and they'd apparently been moved there from another location. And this is where we find Linda Mnisi. Linda, good morning to you. We are still on your live shot. I spoke to the police spokesperson a little earlier after my conversation with you, and the understanding is that 2 more bodies have been discovered. Anything else that seems different to what the police are confirming that you can tell us from your side?
Well, at this point, Oli, from our last conversations, it looks like police are now waiting for the vans from the forensics department, who will then be collecting the 2 bodies that we spoke of. We suspect that, of course, they're in those bags that you're seeing on your screens right now, but we've also been able to spot some of a van that arrived here. It's suspected to be that of the mine company that is in operation here. As you remember, that the police have also told us that this is an active mine, and that is why they believe that the bodies were moved from where they were discovered to this area here. So at this point in time, police, as you can see, I'll ask my colleague Kolani to just show you around. They are waiting together with emergency services after that search and rescue operation from this morning. There is no indication that this is the end of the operation. From what we're seeing, also sniffer dogs still on scene, which may have helped with that search and rescue operation. It did not just end from what they discovered yesterday. They then felt the need to come back to this operation, and of course it brings about a lot of questions, right, Toli, on whether or not the owners of the mines, or even at least the workers of the mine, were not able to see these bodies when they were dumped. We're talking here about 21 bodies that the police believe were moved from wherever that this incident took place to, of course, this area. What could have happened? Who saw, what at this place? Because then they're saying that this mine is operational, which also would mean that they would have security in place. What did the security see? Well, we await for those answers. So at the moment then, it looks like it's all systems go. Police are waiting, and it looks like at this present moment, the search has, stopped for now. We don't know if this will continue. We're seeing the search and rescue teams together with the EMS, the emergency services, now going back to the scene. It's unclear what is going to happen going forward. And I think this only changes the conversation, because here we're talking about an active mine, where in most cases we would have been having this conversation around illegal mine, which we know, are also supposed to be safely guarded. But in most cases in South Africa, what we know is that they are not, and then they become prone to criminal activity and including illegal mining. So what could have possibly happened is the big question here. But police, from the statement also they've released, saying that they do not suspect any foul play. In fact, they are saying that these 2 bodies were discovered not far from where the other bodies were discovered yesterday.
Linda, so many questions spring up when we are looking the situation as it unfolds. For example, the emergency teams, particularly the forensics people, I know that they are not allowed to talk to us on camera, but I wonder if it's part of the conversation you could potentially have with them to say, we saw you a little earlier, you opened the body bags, taking pictures. Is there any way of telling when these people would have been killed, basically the state of these bodies, because perhaps that could tell us as to how long these people may have been dead for, because the police are insistent. The spokesperson I had a conversation with earlier telling me that, again, they are of the very strong suspicion that these two bodies, the latest to be discovered, they also may have been moved from one location and brought to exactly where you are right now. But here's something that we can talk affirmatively on, Linda, and that is that I asked the police spokesperson whether they dispute or they disagree with the community when the community says illegal miners have slowly made their way back to the Krugersdorp area into these disused mines. And she said, well, we as the police cannot remain stationed where we would have dealt with the area operationally. We have to move. We have to get to other areas. And they have a point, Linda, don't they? That they simply can't be stationed in one place. And so there's got to be other sustainable solutions to this crisis of illegal mining.
Yes, and that is why this problem, or such a problem, requires a multi-department approach, right? From the Department of, Home Affairs to the Department of Mineral Resources and the South African Police Services. Because if you look at it, this SAPS is in charge of making sure, of safety issues, making sure that there isn't crime in these areas. But what happens when these illegal mines, or in fact these abandoned mines, remain open and they are not safely secured? What role does the Department of Mineral Resources then play to ensure that it holds mining companies accountable for making sure that the mines are secured and that they are not accessible, right? But also, if you look at the context of Krugersdorp, this is an area where we saw a major crackdown, and many of the people who were arrested at the time are now before the courts facing counts or charges of the contravention of the Immigration Act. Home Affairs then comes into play there, because then the verification of the people and their migration status comes to play. But broadly, you'll also remember that mining in itself really does encourage and triggers migration either internally in the country or externally from different countries. So what are all these departments then doing to make sure that after police have moved on from one point to the next, to ensure that such incidences don't occur and that they don't have to come back again, to then make sure that they crack down? Because this is clearly proving that that particular approach of having one department in the area is simply not working. Communities continue to feel unsafe, and those who have not been arrested are coming back to continue. Oli?
Linda Mnisi, let's leave the conversation there. Thank you very much, my colleague Linda Mnisi. Out in Krugersdorp, it is a continuing conversation in the country, the crisis of illegal mining, and we know the impact that this is having on the economy. The Minister of the Mines talking to us about billions that have been lost to the economy as a direct result of illegal mining in the country. Here's an